Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new video show. Hello, and welcome, everyone, to this new video show. I am Kathryn Yarborough, and this is the show about manifesting abundance. My intention is to interview some awesome people like our guest today, Connie Nash, who are also consciously and intentionally creating their lives by design. I'm excited about this. I just want to share briefly where this has come from. As you probably know about me, if you don't, I have been using the law of attraction and manifestation principles for years, teaching about them. And so one of the steps that I teach 7 steps to manifest anything. And one of the steps that I teach is to follow any intuition or guidance that you receive. So I am an online entrepreneur. I help heart-based entrepreneurs. I'm creating a new community, well, a new program. It's going to be a year-long program. It's called the Flow Group. And one of the things that's come to me over the last, I don't know, it's been a couple of months. It's like this thing that's been hitting me over the head. Create a interview show, and I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do it on Blog Talk Radio or here with Google Hangouts and have the recording be on YouTube. So I'm going to try it for a few months here and see if I like it at Google Hangouts, and we'll see what happens. So feel free to come back and anytime you want. But anyway, let's get started with this show. Connie, hello.
Hey, Kathryn, it's so great to be with you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm actually really great. Really, really great these days. So how are you?
I'm doing great as well. Thank you.
Well, let's take a minute. I know a lot about you, but I'm guessing our audience may not know about you. So, I love you. I think you're awesome. But why don't you tell folks a little bit about yourself and what you're doing in the world?
Oh, thank you, Kathryn. Well, I love you too. And welcome, everybody. Abundance is one of those topics I love talking about. And I am a healer's healer, and I work mostly with intuitive, empathic women who are really ready to share their gifts with the world and receive the abundance they deserve. Yes. So I want to get all these beautiful, empathic, special healers out into the world so that they can heal themselves first and then help other people do what they came here to do. We all have a soul mission, a soul calling, and many of us aren't always listening to that. We're so distracted by the day-to-day life that gets in the way and having to create a dynamic where we have money coming in to pay the bills, and then what happens to the life purpose? It sort of goes on the back burner. I suggest we bring it to the front burner and we start creating abundance intentionally, as you're pointing out, Kathryn, and using our gifts of service in the world to create massive abundance in every area of our life so that we love what we do and our mission's on the front burner and money's flowing and life is just awesome, right?
Yes, yes. I say yay to all of that. And as both you and I know, it is a journey. And some years it seems like it's all working great because we've both been on this journey for several years. And some years it's like or months, doesn't seem to be working at all. And whether that has to do with clarity about what your direction is and how to actually do that, or, knowing how, if you have clarity about what that purpose is, but you don't know how to get out there. Anyway, it doesn't always go smoothly. This is a process. So any thoughts about that?
Wow, yes. I have many thoughts about that. It is absolutely a process, and it is absolutely a journey. A lot of people think, well, I've done this healing work, and, I specifically really help people with healing that grieving inner child, because that's such a huge part of the healing journey. Forgiveness, which is a class I'm going to be doing next week, which we'll talk about later. But, healing that grieving inner child is such a big part of it. And many people come to me and say, well, I've already done so much healing work. And my response to them is the same every single time. It is a process. It is a journey, a lifelong journey. It's something you're going to be doing for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
What I do to support people in that is really give them the tools so that they can continue on the process, continue on the journey. And when you talk about manifesting abundance in that process, I think there are many layers of consciousness that come into play around how and what we attract into our life. And so the more conscious we are, the higher or the greater our ability to allow the abundance that already is to just flow in. It's really a simple concept, but I know it's difficult for a lot of people. So I'm hoping this show today will help with some of that.
Well, so it's kind of interesting. I think that I'm not as present as I like to be because I'm aware of this is a new show and I'm with Google Hangouts, and so I feel like I heard 3/4 of what you just said, and I typically am I think of myself as a really great listener. So let me recap what I think I heard you say, and so we can make sure we're communicating here. So first of all, what's really wonderful about you and the work that you're doing now is the clarity around how you're helping people. Because I've known you for a few years, and you've probably been doing this for a while, which is helping people heal their inner child. I heard you say that, and you specialize in working with people who are healers, empaths, that sort of thing. So. But that clarity around helping people heal their inner child so that they can be more present. Yeah, here I am, not really fully present. And manifest abundance is so beautiful and so important. And I agree with, I've had that experience over the years too, where people have said, oh, I've done so much healing work. Why is this coming up again? I thought I worked through all of that. And, it's a process. So anyway, I really appreciate that you're saying that, and that the more that we go through that process, the more available we are in the present to recognize the abundance that is already here. And that's a big piece of manifesting abundance. So that's what I heard you. I think I heard you say.
Yeah, I mean that's basically it, and that's a good recap for somebody who checked out. No, I'm kidding. but the other part of it that we can expand on a little bit, if it makes sense, is just to remind people that when we do our inner healing work, what we're really doing is we're deepening our own self-love connection. We are, I guess, expanding our ability to receive. And the reason why a lot of people may find that manifesting abundance feels daunting or challenging or out of reach, and even put off by that term, is because they look at it as something that's not attainable, something that's missing in their life presently. And so the key is really to recognize that we are all divine children of God, or the universe, or whatever term you like. And it's really about opening ourselves up to receive our own divine inheritance. And the only way we can do that is if we feel worthy of it. So there's a worthiness component, there's a self-love component, and all of that plays into the receiving ability. And that's especially challenging for empaths. So I love that we're talking about this, because I think there are a lot of spiritual teachers and healers and messengers out there who are really having a hard time receiving the abundance they deserve. So it's something I'm personally very passionate about helping people with. So I'm really glad we're having this conversation today.
Well, it's interesting. Oh, I'm back. That's good. And annoying. Stop that. So thank you. Anyway, thank you for bringing the idea of receiving up, and also the idea that some people have a difficult time with opening or just choosing to want to manifest abundance. We were talking about that a little bit before the show, and it seems like there are some people who feel like they already are abundant, and they may have all the money that they need, but they aren't necessarily abundant in other ways. Like I did this really cool training. Well, I created this cool training. I think it was last summer. I need to pull it out of my archives, where there was an assessment, and I think I had 3 different categories of abundance. One had to do with money, one had to do with how you feel, and one category had to do with your connection to the divine. And so there's several, obviously, from my perspective, several aspects to abundance, and one being money. And so to me, it's such an interesting topic, abundance. You know, because so many people think of it as just about money, that if they are the people like you were talking about, those of us who struggle with money and have a hard time receiving it and creating a life where the money side of it is working really well, you know, there's that challenge. And then there are those people who allow, you know, money to flow to them, but maybe aren't as spiritually connected, and aren't open to, you know, aren't yet open to other things. So it got me thinking as you were talking, you know, we're all on this journey. We're all on a journey, and you know, I love the book Power versus Force. For listeners who have not read it, it's a great book about different levels of consciousness and how we're all at different places with that, you know, in this lifetime. And so, you know, it's like wherever you are, Connie, wherever I am, it's all okay. And you know, how then can we, from where we are, consciously create our lives by design? And you know, and so that, and to me, that's about manifesting abundance. I'm going to say one more thing. One of the things that I've been doing over the last year or so, as I've been playing with this, is periodically asking myself, if I were truly abundant in 6 to 12 months, what would that look like? I've asked my clients that. It's a way, and for me, what's been unfolding as I do that is allowing what abundance really means to me to become more conscious, so that I can truly manifest it. Because if it's just this amorphous idea of a lot of money, then it's limiting to me. So anyway, those are some of my thoughts in response to what you're sharing about receiving and people.
Awesome. Totally true. I agree with everything you're saying, and I think I got that feedback now. Oh, dear. Ooh, where does that come from? I think it's gone. Can I comment just for a minute about some of the things that you just said?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. You're so spot on about the whole money thing being the only part of abundance. It is, like you said, it is so not the only part of abundance. In fact, it's probably a small part when you really think about it. If you've got an abundance of health, and you've got an abundance of love in your life and time freedom, to me, you're as rich as all get out. And the money will naturally flow as a result of all of that. You just have to be really present with where your thoughts are and where your vibration is. And one of the things that's really been key in my experience in manifesting abundance is to be super clear about what I want. I think a lot of people put a mixed message out to the universe. They're wishy-washy on what they want because they have a belief going on, whether it's conscious or unconscious, that they don't deserve what they want. So they become wishy-washy. You've got to make a decision, a firm decision. You have to declare what you want to the universe and be really firm about it and be really like, yeah, this is what I want. And then you've got to take charge of the situation. And like you said, actively create it. Work with the laws of attraction. Work with your God-given power. Work with your ability to manifest. We are all brilliant manifestors, even when we're manifesting what we don't want. And many of us don't even see the power in how powerful we are at manifesting what we don't want. The truth is, we can manifest what we do want as easily as manifesting what we don't want. So if you've been manifesting a lack of money or a lack of love or a lack of time or whatever it is, it's really just about where your thoughts have been. And that's something that you have control over. It's something that you can fix. But you've got to be present. You've got to be aware. You've got to know how you feel. You've got to pay attention to how you feel. You've got to get yourself out of the past and out of the future and get yourself in the present. And if your bank account isn't to your liking, love what you've got, and then make a decision that you want to create more. Be specific about what that is, and then take charge of the situation and make it happen. Say, okay, how can I put $5,000 a month in my bank account? How can I do that, universe? Show me. Give me some action steps. And just every single day be vigilant with, I'm creating this, and I know the ideas are going to come to me, and I'm welcoming those ideas, and I am open to those, receiving those ideas, and I'm going to put them into divine inspired action. And oh, by the way, I want this abundance not just for personal selfish reasons. I want it because I want to help other people, and I want to use it as a way to support my divine mission and purpose and make the world a better place. And holy smokes, it will start to rain on you like nobody's business, right?
So, okay, so does that work for you?
It does when I'm vigilant with it. I don't always get vigilant with it. Like everybody else, I get caught up in fear. I get caught up in what could happen in the future. And really beating myself up over mistakes I've made that created a situation I didn't want. And I get hung up on the evidence that's in front of me rather than getting focused on, okay, it's kind of like if you're driving your car and you get stuck in the mud, you can sit there and cry and complain and whine about being stuck in the mud, or you can say, okay, I accept that I'm stuck in the mud. I accept that my bank account can't support my bills right now. Ugh, okay, I accept it. I'm not going to fight that anymore. I just accept it. But now I'm going to change it. And I'm going to get very clear about all the ways that I have the power to change it. And then just start getting centered in your body and clear about, okay, what can I do to change this situation? And when you're still and you're quiet and you're present, those ideas will start to flow. It's really about getting out of the fear, transmuting that fear. In fact, for empaths in particular, the greatest skill they will ever master is how to transmute fear, and they have that ability. And it is a mastery. And when you master that, nothing will get in your way ever again. Fear will continue to come, but you'll be able to move through it. And you'll be able to move through it quickly when you get very, very good at it, which is about staying present.
Yeah. Well, so I appreciate what you're saying for yourself, for your own experience, where the ways in which what happens for what I heard you say that happens for you, which is really exactly what happens to all of us, is you are focused when it's not working, you're focusing on the reality that isn't what you want. And yeah, it's like, it's so crazy. It's like, I hate this. I hate
it's right in front of you. It's hard to avoid, especially when it's money, because money affects every area of your life. And when you don't have enough money, the fear is really hard to shake. I mean, let's be honest, we're human beings. We need money in this 3D world. And so we slip into survival, fright, flight. Oh my God, I got to put a roof over my head. I got to buy groceries. And if the money isn't there for that, it's very easy to slip into fear and despair. And you'll just keep manifesting more and more of that. And it can be a vicious cycle. So you really have to work at this. I hate to say it. It's just the truth. You got to work at it.
Yeah, I think that we do have to work at it until I think we've achieved mastery. It's like something shifts inside of us at a vibrational level that it maintains. So, I mean, it's kind of like that thing you were talking about earlier. Why is this happening again? It's like it didn't stick yet. My spiritual teacher has talked about that with different levels with the awakening process, and that, you actually, you have an awakening experience, and okay, from the way I describe it or think of it, is you crack your shell that was created as a result of consensus reality. And so in an awakening experience, you crack the shell of that, and this light flows through, and you have this incredible moment or moments or days or hours or, you know, weeks even sometimes for some people during an awakening experience. You know, it could be a moment, it could be, you know, several weeks, but then the shell gets solid again. So, or we go back to consensus reality, so that we don't maintain that new experience. And it's the same process, I think, with manifestation. It's like some people like manifest something and they're like, oh my God, I'm doing this. And then consensus reality comes back, that the old way of being, and they just haven't done it enough, or allowed their whole being at every level of their being to shift, so that it is actually that capacity to manifest in that particular area, to be abundant actually in that particular area and allow flow, hasn't yet been mastered. So anyway, it's really cool. So, but I want to hear more about the things that you are very, you know, much a master at, which is helping empaths, and, you know, sort of what you're, the way in which you're creating your life. I mean, you got really clear, the story you've told me and I've heard you talk about, is that, you know, you worked in corporate world and you got really clear that wasn't right for you. And you tell us what you did, because you were very successful, and tell us about that.
Gosh, this is such an interesting conversation, because my life has just sort of been all over the place. And, you know, thank you for asking the question. I appreciate it. Yeah, in my past, in my 20s and 30s, and even some in my 40s, yeah, I had a very successful professional career in sales, and I've made, you know, well over 6 figures a year, and had the fancy apartments and designer clothes and BMWs and timeshares and trips around the world and all this kind of stuff. I had all that, and I was miserable. And you talk about abundance in so many different forms. You know, I've had periods of my life where I was very financially abundant, but I was not abundant in other ways. I didn't love myself. I didn't know who I was. And I had some health problems and relationship problems and all of these different things. And so as I went on more of a spiritual journey, and I went inward, and I divorced the person that wasn't right for me, and I got out of the careers that weren't fulfilling me, and they were just feeling like, it was like selling my soul, you know, it was like a prison sentence, and it just didn't feel right for me. So I started answering the call of my soul, and I went on a 20-year personal growth and spiritual journey. And during that period of time, I noticed a major shift in the levels of abundance I was creating. The money part went away because of the beliefs, but what replaced it was something much richer and much more fulfilling and satisfying in terms of abundance, which was self-love and peace and beautiful relationships and perfect health now and everything. Like, I am abundant in so many areas of my life. It's just such a blessing. And I just keep focusing on where the abundance is. And that would be something that I would invite everyone listening to this to do, is focus on where the abundance is in your life, and then invest that abundance wisely to create even more abundance. For instance, if you have an abundance of time, invest that time wisely so that you create more freedom and time abundance in your life, which will trickle into the other areas. Obviously, being on a spiritual growth and healing journey will contribute to creating more love in your life and improving your relationships and your health and all these other areas of abundance that are so, so important and frankly much more satisfying than money. You know, I probably don't have the level of money now that I did then, but I'm a far happier person, and I'm a peaceful person, and I'm not worried about the money. The money always comes. It comes and goes, and I'm working on having it not go so much. But it always comes, and I'm always taken care of, and it always just seems to show up when I really need it. And that, to me, is just what abundance is really about. It's like not being in fear that it's never coming. Mm-hmm. Having moments of fear and more peace. And that can only come when you actually do the inner work. And when you do the inner work, the outer stuff tends to show up. So yeah, there are a lot of different beliefs that people have, and I think everyone's soul is on a journey of healing and awakening. And for some people, it's about money. For other people, it's about health. And for others, it's about love. It's about all sorts of things. There are a lot of people, as you pointed out earlier, who have plenty of money, but they're miserable. I've been one of those people. So abundance is kind of, it's a relative thing in some ways, you know. Everyone may define it differently. I don't know. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I do think that in general, as I said earlier, when people think about abundance, they think about money, and they think about big houses or nice houses and vacations and stuff like that. I'm on a mission to help us expand that definition of abundance, like what you're talking about, having, having health and good relationships, and because for me, abundance is part of. I think of it as it's related to my spiritual journey. Like being abundant is being spiritual. It's like one of the higher vibrations, like it goes with joy and love and peace. And so abundance for me is really, it includes a very deep experience of giving infinitely and receiving infinitely. So not having any resistance. And feeling that, just having an abundant life is feeling great about life. So that encompasses all of those areas. So anyway, I think it's a cool question. I think it's maybe it's going to be something that will be talked about in this show, in the Manifesting Abundance show, as I talk with more people. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But since we're here and we have a few more minutes on this show, you told us that you had this experience of being very successful at doing sales, and then you recognized that it wasn't a great fit for you because of your health and relationships and all that stuff. So you decided to start your own work, I know, and you're currently doing that. So tell listeners a little bit more detail about what you're doing, what's coming up for you. If folks are interested in working with you, I do there is a link available, but you can share your link and,
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been following my heart, and my heart has led me to being basically a facilitator to help those beautiful healers out there heal themselves. I have a website, ConnieNash.com, which is just ConnieNash.com. If you go to that link, I'm actually hosting a free 2-part, 2-day training on forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the core pieces of the work that I do with empaths in private session that I've been doing for the last 5 years, basically helping them with heart expansion and healing and all of that. Forgiveness is a huge part of that, and a lot of people don't really understand forgiveness. So if you go to ConnieNash.com, at the top, you'll see a tab that says events. If they click on that, they'll be able to register for that call. It's on Tuesday, the 21st at 4 p.m. Eastern, I'm still forgetting I'm on Pacific time, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. And then part 2 of that class will be on Thursday, the 23rd of next week. So I invite people to come. It's free, completely free. I'd love to have folks join us, and it's going to be great. We're going to be doing some pretty intense forgiveness work. It's a 3-step process that I teach, and part of the class will be a teaching component and part will be a guided process. So I really hope a lot of people can come, and I'm excited to do it, and I just feel very blessed to be able to help people in this way, and I hope to help a whole lot more coming up.
Yeah. Yes, so I just want to acknowledge that I'm hoping that people, since this is the very first Manifesting Abundance show, I'm going to share this link with people I know, and we're recording it, I just want to say, on June 17th of 2016. In case anybody listens to it later, they can still go to your website and see what you're up to. But that it's next week that this event that you just described is happening. But Connie is always doing things, and also does private sessions, right? And folks can look that up and join your e-list. She sends out these beautiful emails, and so you can stay connected with Connie that way if you want to. So thank you for sharing all that. Thank you so much for being with me and being such a trooper and jumping in and helping me see how this is going to work. Do you have anything that you want to share as we wrap up?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you so very much for inviting me. It's been a lot of fun. I always love being with you, Kathryn. And for those who don't know how generous you are, you're probably the most giving person I've ever met. And I really encourage people to work with you in any capacity that they can. You just give and give and give with your whole heart. And you're helping so many people in the area of abundance. And I love the work you're doing, and I feel privileged and honored to know you and to co-create with you, and I'm excited about all the work that you're doing with this, and I can't wait to hear more about your program coming up in August. So the flow, that's awesome. It's just about being in the flow, so I love it.
Yeah, exactly. The flow group. Yeah, it's perfect for you. If you want to find out more, that'd be cool for you to participate. But anyhow, so my friends, I want to let you know that if you are not already on my e-list and you'd like to join it, I invite you to actually get my free ebook at, I'm trying to find the right page here to tell you. I believe it's flowingwithchange.com/manifest book sign up. And the link should be connected to the show link. So hopefully you can find that if you're interested, and you'll find out more about more Manifesting Abundance shows and the flow group and the different things that I do. So thanks again for joining me, Connie, and listeners. Bye now. Namaste.
Thank you, Kathryn.